Hello, my name is Super, and today's video is going to be on parsing. Specifically, why I believe that parsing is an important factor, or not important, but I guess why parsing or the act of improving yourself using XIV or FF logs to improve yourself is vital to you being a better player, right? And why I believe that people who are like, oh, you shouldn't care about numbers are giving bad advice. Just outright giving bad advice. That's a horrible way to think about it. I'm not saying now, before someone comes up my ass, I'm not saying that you should use numbers as a dick measuring con, blah 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 blah. I'm saying that at the very least, the numbers aren't always wrong. It's okay to want to have better numbers. All right. I'm not saying you have to parse every fight you're in. I'm not saying every parse should be. Not every saying every fight should be parsed, but I am saying if you're consistently getting a zero, you should look into that. that that's all it is. Like whenever I look at my M12S phase 2 parses and I'm like, okay, I see what I'm doing wrong. Like the last 4 weeks we've re-cleared, I've been playing like ass. Okay, I'm doing something wrong. I need to look into it and find out what I'm doing wrong. Whether it is because I'm holding, whether it is because I'm accidentally holding a buff, I'm not using something because I'm trying to do idyllic, etc., 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 or I'm just not fitting as many damage buttons as I need to fit in under the 2 minutes. There's there's things that you can do to be better. All right. Like I get so pissed off when I'm going on Twitter or anything, and you have somebody that's going like, "Oh, you shouldn't care about parses." Yeah, you shouldn't care about parses, but your damage matters. Like you're telling this to people, and so they go in there going, "Well, my parse doesn't really matter too much." Your parse is your damage, man. Your damage fucking matters. You should somewhat care about your parse. That's like if we're playing, you know what I mean? That's like if we're playing, like we're hop on the court for a 5v5, right? We're playing some basketball, right? And someone's like, you don't really got to care too much about scoring for real. Just play some good defense. Uh, you should at least score one or two buckets. I don't mean don't score at all. Like, or don't know how to play on the ball. Like, you can be a defensive master and still know how to score the ball. You know what I mean? Like that's literally what we're getting to. We're getting to the point where people are like, yeah, your damage don't matter, and you're playing a DPS. That's all you're there for. You are the damage. Like you'll go, and what's crazy about it is that you'll then see people post like, man, I've been stuck on M11S for like the past 10 like weeks, right? I've been stuck on M12S at phase 1 Enrage for like the past 12 weeks, right? And it's not even like not even like, oh, I've been getting trapped. Like they've just been stuck on the Enrage. Like they're dying to the Enrage bar, right? Like 0.2%, 0.3%, or like 2-3%, like stuff like that. And then you go and look at it, and it's like, okay, the groups that you're in just need to optimize more. Like it's literally just coming down to the fact that y'all just aren't optimizing. Either you're not optimizing, someone's getting a damage down, or a mixture of all three. Something is going wrong in your pools where like everybody loses damage. I especially, and the only reason I made this video is because it's something I noticed really badly in M11 is that whenever Split Arena comes up, everybody's DPS just falls off the side of a fucking cliff. I'm not talking about like fall off like, oh, because it's like downtime like naturally falls. I'm talking about like people lose so much DPS. I'm like, what are we doing? Like we should, the amount of DPS being lost should not be this high. Like you'll see people's DPS drop to like from like a nice smooth like, okay, 38k, like you're hitting, but like you're not doing not crazy high, but you're doing decent. Like that's not bad damage. 38k is respectable. That's respectable damage. To like 35k, and it doesn't even go like and it doesn't go back up during the tomb. So I'm like, okay, you're missing buttons somewhere. Something is not right here. Something is not right here. Right now, obviously, people are gonna go look at my log so they can tell me this, that, and the third, and they're missing the point. And they're missing the point of what I'm trying to say, I guess, which is that like you should try and strive to improve and be better and play better and have a higher number. Not because having a higher number for like whatever social status and you can go flex on people, but because having a higher number means you're getting better at the game. Like straight, like it's probably one of the few things in FF that you oh my gosh, it's one of the few things in FF that you can actively go in and be like, oh hey, I'm doing better. Oh hey, I had a really good run that pool. Oh hey, okay, this is if I do this now, like I get I'm gonna have a better parse, etc., etc., etc. Like it's how you learn. That's how you learn to get better is by trying to optimize and by trying. And the only way to get better is to know what you're doing wrong. And unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Square doesn't provide that in the game. There's no damage logs in the game. There's not a way to see how much damage you're doing. There's not a way to see what are checked on what you're missing, etc., etc., etc. Which leads me to another point before like I run out of escapes my mind. I do believe that FF needs a damage chart. Actually, not a damage chart, and not a damage chart in a traditional way that people think. I'm like in like WoW, right, where it's like WoW has a built-in damage chart. Even if I don't know if it's good or not, I don't play WoW like that, but I know it has one, right? Now, this is gonna sound crazy. I think it should be like Destiny 2. After an enrage. Only specifically though, it should only be after an enrage wipe. It shouldn't be on every wipe. Only after you wipe to enrage, right? The boss casts its final hit and everybody dies, should it show you your damage numbers, the amount of damage downs people got, and the amount of deaths everybody has. Because if that was the case, people would lock the fuck in way more often. People would want to play better, not because they don't. And like I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, that promotes toxicity." Play the game, man. Like no, like that's not toxic to expect you to play the game. That's not toxic. I think when people think about toxicity, it's like they come in and like first two pulls and they're already on somebody's ass. That's toxic. But man, if we see Enrage 3 times, every time we see Enrage, you got the lowest damage with a damage down with a death. Like you can't be mad when people go like, "Hey man, what's going on?" People gonna be on your ass. That's just how the game works. That's how rating works. We're rating. We're not like I'd understand not wanting being like, "Hey, you shouldn't be parse branded like extreme," because the extreme DPS checks aren't anything. But if we're rating in Savage, if we're rating in Ultimate, you can't be mad when someone goes like, "Hey man, our damage is is non-existent. What's happening?" Right? Like that's not crazy. Uh, and that and that's really it. Like I don't have a whole lot else to say about it. It's not. It was just something that came to my mind because it's just I see it too much on this. I see it way too much. Like not every three, like every 2 months, it gets cycled in again and again on my feed where it's like, oh, parsing is bad, not parsing is bad, blah 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 blah. And in reality, it's like, man, do you really want to just be out? Like you want to be known for being bad? And that's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. It's not whether or not parsing is good or bad. It's about whether or not you as an individual are content with being stuck where you are or trying to improve. There's nothing wrong with not parsing, but there is something wrong with actively griefing your team because you don't want to improve and believe that parsing is stupid. That's ultimately where a lot of the anti that's why I don't believe in anti-parsers almost always. And I'll always take the parser side. Because at least the parser is trying to promote the right thing. Most people who are anti-parse and savage slash like what's it called, ultimate level content, where it's like, yeah, a clear is a clear, but you can make the clear easier by having more damage and not dying to mechanics. Okay, like like straight up, your parse will go up higher if you just deal damage and don't die. That's literally like the only two requirements to parse 90% of the time. Like I like parse not actual parsing. Obviously, parsing requires sandbagging, blah 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 blah. But like, you get the point, man. Don't play like ass. That's all I'm asking. You can play better, want to have the drive to want to be better, right? Like everything in life, man, you can't just sit there and be ass and then be wondering why you can't do something. You're not striving to be better at it. You're not striving to want to be better. You're not striving to want to optimize. You're not striving to want to do more damage. So therefore, every time you go into PF, every time you go into M11S, you're gonna sit there, you're gonna wipe to enrage, and you're gonna be upset and be like, "What's the problem? Why am I keep on wiping to enrage instead of going, maybe I should look at this XIV analysis and see what's happening." You're gonna sit there and be mad about what and blame other people when it's like you can play better too, man. It's not always somebody else's fault. Sometimes you do gotta look in and be like, "Damn, I played like ass." There's nothing wrong with that. And that's really all I got to say for today. I kind of dragged this